Let's go on to another question. This one comes from Donald. What would be a tactical way of responding to someone who says, God is not out/up there, he/it is in here, pointing to himself?
Well, of course, I'd want clarification at first. What do you mean? So if you didn't exist, would God disappear? If God is in all human beings and he's not out there in any sense, then before there was any human beings, was there a God? These are fair questions to ask, because this seems, now they're probably making a separate kind of point, not that God's existence is dependent on our existence, but rather that that God isn't far off, that we have to come to him and discover him and receive him and be reunited with him, but we all have kind of a spark of the divine in us, and so we are one with God in a certain sense. So that's New Thought kind of idea, the spark of the divine that's in all of us. But I need to get clarification. All right. And that's a very popular view now with a lot of people, and it's been around for a long time. This is it has kinship with ancient Gnosticism in the 2nd century. So you're going to run into this, but this is where the first two Columbo questions are just golden. Well, what do you mean by that? And try to get a clarification. So why would you think that's the case? Why would you think that? What are the reasons why you think that what we're searching for, and many people are searching, a large portion of the population is trying to figure things out, that what's the truth of the matter, they already have what they're searching for inside of them. I mean, that seems to go against the common sense, too. So why would they think that everybody's got this spark of the divine, or however they characterize it, God, within them?
I wonder also if he's saying something about, like if you're looking inside of yourself for guidance and you're looking to your ideas and your feelings and what you love. I'm trying to think if there's a good example of why that's a bad idea.
Well, this is the way people who are not guided by externals are all guided by internals. Mm-hmm. And this is what this is the consequence. I should say the consequence of that view. Oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes is following your emotions, your passions, your desires to do what you want. And a lot of times, those are sinful things. And people end up justifying sinful behavior by saying, I'm being true to myself. You know, I did it my way. I'm you be you kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be me, and that's cool. So there you go. Until you have Jeffrey Dahmer, who's doing his own thing, you know. I don't know if people remember him as a murderer and a cannibal, I think. But you've got people like that. So that's the outworking of this concept, you know. I'm
trying to think of a quick way to make a point with this person, and I can't come up with anything clever. But one thing, what strikes me when I hear this is the idea of, don't you know that you do bad things? Like, don't we all know that we need someone outside of ourselves to rescue us from our own sin and our weakness and our failures? Do I want to be my own God? Like, it strikes me as someone who has very little self-awareness. And maybe the younger you are, the easier it is to say things like, God's inside of me. But I think maybe where I would take this is just, you know, I just think I'm aware of my need to be saved. I'm aware of my own sin. And if God is in me, that means God is sinful.
Participating in your sin.
Yes. Right. And I don't want that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just really grateful to know that there's a God who's outside of me, who's actually perfect, and who sent his son to die for me so that I could be forgiven and be with him and ultimately be completely redeemed. Mm-hmm. Because I need someone outside of me. Yeah. I can't pull myself up by my own bootstraps, my own moral bootstraps.
Right. I think this is an example of trying to have your cake and eat it too. You acknowledge a spirituality, but then you adopt a spirituality that acknowledges that the human being is a spiritual creature, good, but then makes no demands on them. God's in me. That's the way. He's not out there. somebody I've got to please or obey. He's already in me, and that makes me good just the way I am. If that's true about everybody, maybe that's a question. Is that true about everybody? Yes. Well, then all of these, it's easy to think of individuals in the world today probably reflecting on your friend's political convictions that they would think are really bad, people who are contrary to that person's political convictions. Yet those people are going to have to be considered good based on this criteria that God is in everybody. And so none of these people doing all these things that you object to are doing bad things at all. God's in them. So help me understand how this works then.
It seems so. I think this is why I'm having a hard time coming up with something clever. Is it just seems so obviously insufficient to explain what's going on with the world.
Yeah.
And you just have to look around to see the evil, and you have to look in your own heart to see the evil. And it just kind of blows my mind. So I don't have a quick thing to say, but maybe those are some ideas to help
Sure.
you figure out a direction you can go in.